morning, students. In the last video, we learnt about internal challenges like unrest in Punjab, some issues of Northeast India, as well as Operation Blue Star. So, in the continuation of third lesson, we will learn about Naxalite movement, communalism, and regionalism. Naxalite movement. This movement started at Naxalbari in Darjeeling district in West Bengal. Actually, this movement was started by peasants and farmers against the landlords. Landlords used to exploit farmers and landless laborers. The Naxalite organized the small land holding farmers and land laborers and took charge of their lands, put up red flags and declared that area as free territory in 1967. All those movements that took inspiration from the rebellion are called Naxalite movements. The movement had the objective of establishing action committees to raise a voice against the exploitation of the farmers by the landlords and confiscate the land of the landlords and distribute it among the tenants. Later, the movement strayed away from its objectives. It took recourse to terrorism to prevent any government schemes and welfare policies from reaching the common people. The Naxalites started a parallel system by rejecting the democratic system. This made the Naxalites a serious challenge to India's internal security. So, the movement, which was started for farmers and tenants, became violent. The movement was mainly located in West Bengal. Later, the movement spread in East Godavari, in Andhra Pradesh, parts of Visakhapatnam, Karimnagar in Telangana, Adilabad, Basar, Rajnandangao and Sukma in Chhattisgarh, Gadchiroli, Bhandara and parts of Chandrapur in Maharashtra, Balaghat and Mandala in Madhya Pradesh and Karaput in Orissa. In order to maintain their influence, the Naxalite established an organization called People's Liberation Guerrilla Army. This Naxalite movement is still going on in India. Then let's see about communalism. We know that in our India, different religious peoples are living together. But when the society is divided on the basis of religion, is known as communalism. Communalism is a serious threat to the unity of our country. Communalism emerges out of a narrow religious pride, means give importance to our religion only. The British sowed the seeds of communalism in our country. People of different religions have happily lived together since many centuries. There is nothing wrong in people of different religions living together in a country while being duly proud of their own religion. We should be proud of our religion. But when this pride becomes excessive, then it turns into bigotry. Bigotry means it turns into the hatred. So started thinking that our religion is only good or best, others are not. This leads to religious fanaticism. Fanaticism means excessive love for our own religion, and so we are not giving importance to the other religions. Fanaticism is the base of communalism. People of different religions don't trust each other. They become suspicious of each other and they look at each other as an enemy. Or even coming together on festivals becomes rare. As a result, it becomes difficult for everybody to come together and get organized for their demands and rights as a citizen. Fanatism makes the perspective of looking at events and people prejudiced, means hatred. Some people begin to think of economic and social questions also in the framework of their own religion. Some people of all religions think that since they belong to a particular religion, they have no influence in politics. They begin to believe that they are being treated unjustly. They hold the idea that government is partial against their religion. Such a condition, they became too sensitive about their religion. If anybody speaks about the people of their religion or insults the religious symbol knowingly or unknowingly, riots break out because of this kind of thinking. Hundreds of innocent people are killed. Public property worth crores of rupees is damaged. The public peace is destroyed. Due to the bitter memories of the riots, people are estranged from each other and mutual trust receives a setback. Trust between people is the basis of coexistence. If trust breaks, social unity receives a blow. Hence, national unity cannot be achieved without social unity. Then it is necessary that we all counter the religious communalism with all our strength. For this, we should mix with people of different religions. We should accept the good practices and ideas of each other. We should accept the good practices and ideas of each other. Whatever good in any other religion, that we should try to accept it. We should be able to look at and understand our economic and social problems rationally. Find the solution rationally, not by blaming any religion. We should search for the economic, political, or historical reasons that are responsible for disturbing religious harmony. We know that from the ancient period, all the religious people living together in our India happily. But the Britishers started the policy of divide and rule. Before taking doubt for any other religion, we should think politically, economically, and historical reasons behind it. This is the only way to put an end to communalism and strengthen the national unity. Social unity is necessary for the national unity. Nationalism means having excessive pride about one's region. In India, people who are living in Maharashtra are known as Marathi people. People who are living in Bengal are known as Bengali people. Similarly, there are Tamilians, Gujarati, etc. If people have pride for their region, then it is good. But having thought that I am superior to others from different provinces, then it is termed as excessive regional pride. It is natural to feel love for one's province, but it should not become abnormal. Regionalism thrives on regional imbalance in development. In the post independence period, some states achieved more progress while some states remained backward. For example, states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Punjab, and Tamil Nadu developed economically and industrially, whereas states like Odisha, Bihar, Assam remain undeveloped economically and industrially. Economic development and reforms are the foundation of progress. You know that from the undeveloped states like Odisha and Bihar, so many peoples are coming for education and employment in Mumbai, Delhi, and Punjab. As a result, the states that develop economically can achieve progress in other areas like education, health, and culture. The states which have not developed in this manner remain backward in education and civic amenities. Civic amenities like water, toilet, road, transport, etc. The opportunities of development available to people in developed states are not possible for people in backward states. They are harassed by problems of education, backwardness, unemployment, poverty, etc. They begin to think that they are being cheated. They are being kept away from the benefits of development. Because of this, the understanding between states is broken. This is turn has a negative impact on national unity. It creates conflict or dispute in between the two states. The economic imbalance that has endangered this understanding needs to be set right. Our government makes efforts in that direction. Regionalism can affect developed as well as undeveloped states. The people of developed states begin to believe that they are superior due to their superior history and culture, and hence they have developed that much. Then they began to look down upon the people of undeveloped regions. They are not willing to share the benefits of development with the backward states. On the other hand, the people from backward areas need to arouse their regional identity to organize themselves. For this, they try to unnecessarily glorify their local traditions and culture to prove their uniqueness. This leads to regionalism. Our government tried to reduce the imbalance between developed states as well as in undeveloped states. We have studied a few challenges that India is facing. Apart from these, there are some several problems like overpopulation. So, due to the overpopulation, India is facing the problems like standards of living, food, water, etc. Cleanliness. Till now, Indian people are unaware about cleanliness. Many people defecate on open grounds. And so we have seen our government started the movement for cleanliness. Agriculture and the problems of the farmers. Till date, agriculture is the main occupation of India. Agriculturists and farmers are facing many problems in their occupation. Even we heard about the suicide cases of farmers due to the failure in agriculture. Poverty, housing, and food. Till so many poor peoples are there in India, they don't have food and house. We are trying to overcome these problems and move forward. We are progressing steadily and continuously. India is doing progress in all the fields. So we completed internal challenges and meet you in the next video. Thank you.